welcome back. We are here for week number 14 Overwatch League predictions. So, the Asian region matches have already been played for today. I did not look at the results yet, spoilers wise, so they will be spoiled in just a moment. So, I would skip ahead a minute and a half in the video if you don't want to see those results right now. But otherwise, I'm going to say who I would have picked. The matchups, we got Shanghai versus Seoul. Definitely think Dragons would win that, either a 3-0 or 3-1. Then we have London versus Chengdu. I'd say London comes out on top in a close one, say 3-2. And then Guangzhou versus New York, a rematch. I'd take New York winning that one once again in a 3-1. So for now, let's see what happened with those matches. Seoul beat Shanghai 3-2. London 3-0 Chengdu, and Guangzhou beat New York 3-1. Okay, we didn't see this coming. All right. It's upset week. Good to know. Seoul, after getting 3-0 3 weeks in a row, takes down the big boys in Shanghai. London 3-0s in their return. And then Guangzhou gets revenge on New York and gets themselves back to 5. Okay. Very interesting. I'm definitely going to have to go back and watch all of those matches. But, so we were right on the London Chengdu, wrong on the other two. All right. Fair enough. Well played, Guangzhou and Seoul. Come showing back up. All right. Yeah, I might do a video on Seoul versus Shanghai because that was probably a hell of a match if it went to 5. All right. Well, we see a couple of big upsets early on. But without further ado, let's get into the predictions for the rest of the weekend. So, Paris versus Gladiators. This is a very interesting one. You got 5-5 Paris. They've had some really nice victories, but they've also had a lot of losses. A couple of recent ones to Philly. They also got 3-0 by Florida, which wasn't great for them. So they're 5-5. They're 20-20 on maps for the season. So, kind of crazy. Or 15-15. They couldn't have played 20-20 yet because they've only won 15. Or no, because in their losses. But anyway, they're taking on Gladiators, who are sitting at 4-3 right now. So these are both teams that are kind of vying, for that number 5 spot almost, you could say. Similar in the standings. They've had pretty similar performances. So I'm gonna go with Gladiators here. And the Gladiators don't have a great history against Paris, but we do have separate teams here. But for Paris, they had another support leave the team. Gray has now retired as well. So Hip's gone, Gray's gone, Cruz is gone. So they're pretty much down to FD God and Fielder. So we'll, and they did both play well last week, but Fielder apparently is still gonna have some ping things because he's not with the rest of the team. And I just like the Gladiators roster a little bit more. I haven't been the biggest believer in Paris. They did get that big victory against Philly, but that was weeks and weeks ago. They've since lost 2 matches to them. So I think Paris is a very solid team. I think Gladiators are a bit of a better team right now. I'm going to say all the maps are close, but I'm going to go Gladiators 3-1. I just love this tank line. I really do. OGE in space have been so impressive this season. I feel like this team's really starting to click together, the support line. And then their DPS have been very solid as well. I'd say this is, if Birdring continues to play like this will be his best, it'll be his best season in the Overwatch League. He's been, consistent, reliable. So I like the Gladiators here. I think they're only going to be getting better. And while Paris gives them a good fight, in the end, LA is going to take this one. Then we got Washington versus Vancouver. So we do know most of the new Vancouver roster. They picked up pretty much all of Second Wind, and NA Contenders team. A couple of the guys like Ice and Speedily, they are too young to perform in the league, but they did grab a lot of the other guys. Rolf, a an absolute veteran of Overwatch. You know, I remember watching him in the tournaments before the first season of Contenders, which was before the first season of Overwatch League. So this guy has just been around. He's been on so many different teams. So super happy for him that he finally gets his chance to play in OWL. Same thing for one of the DPS they picked up is Dalton. Another guy who he's just been around. He was at Toronto's organization for a long time, their Contenders team. Then he was played for the Gladiators Legion, their the Contenders team for Gladiators for a while. And he's a nasty tracer. So if we do get to see some tracer, watch out for that. So super happy for him too. They picked up the rest of that roster as well. Guys like Shredlock on the tank as well. So it'll be interesting for Vancouver. And then also for Justice, Corey has retired. Apparently he is going to Valorant as well. He probably wants to click heads without shields being in his way and a lot of other things. And then as well as Stratus. Stratus is retiring. He's staying with the Justice. He's just moving to a content creator role. So he's essentially going to be a streamer for the team. So yeah, two of their DPS gone. So for both of these teams right now, it's kind of like, what's the identity of the team? What's going on here? Honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Vancouver. Yes, they just got assembled, but a lot of these players have been playing together. I think Washington, after losing like the two, really the faces of their organization, I just think they're going to be even more of a mess than they already were. The new members of Vancouver are going to be fresh. They're going to be excited to play. So yeah, I think they get it done like 3-1. Then we got Houston. They're coming off a couple of tough losses against Atlanta, who's also coming off a couple of tough losses. I'm going to go with an Atlanta 3-0 here. I haven't loved the way Houston's played the last couple of weeks. They did have a very, very close match against Dallas, but I still like Atlanta more. I think they're quite clearly the better team. We do have to watch out for reverse sweep. Atlanta was kind of dominating Valiant last time out, and then the Valiant just came back and reverse swept them. So who knows? Anything can happen. But with this current rotation, I think we're going to see a lot of double shields, and I think Atlanta's a lot better at that than Houston in the end, and that's pretty much the main decider, I would say. I mean, I like their tank line a bit more. I haven't really liked when Houston has been running their double off support comps, and they've been running Repel as well as Raucous. This feels like it just hasn't really worked out for them. I feel like Jexa is a very important member of the team. So, yeah, I think Atlanta takes care of them pretty easily in a 3-0. Then we got Valiant, like I said, coming off a big victory against Atlanta last time out. They're at 3-6. They're not out of it. If they get a couple more victories in a row, they're going to be right there with a lot of the mid tiers, taking on Boston Uprising, who at this point, all I want to hear from Boston is that they signed people. That's all I want to hear. They got 6 people at this point. I just come on, it's getting ridiculous. It's like Mayhem Season 1 where they had 7 players on their roster. It's like, really? Come on, you couldn't sign a couple more people to fill in, make your team way more flexible. Have your team better at different comps probably because everyone's gonna have their own ace heroes. But I'm just over Boston. I'm over that organization. I feel bad for the players. Trust me, this isn't a slight against the players. I like Fusions, Color Hex. I think Jerry's performed really well in his rookie season. Mu Yang Bong has been really good as well. But it's just like, come on, give these guys some help. What's going on here? Brewson's just started out. Like, they got Halo playing now, even though Swimmer started. It's just like, I'm done with them. I'm done with them. Just everyone keep rolling them over, and maybe they'll finally decide to spend some money. Quit being cheap bastards. But yeah, Valiant, take it easily. Does Boston get a map? Nah, 3-0. Valiant win. Then back to the Asian region. We got a interesting matchup in the Hangzhou Spark against Shanghai Dragons. Hangzhou looked really good last time out. Shanghai, we now know, will be coming off of a loss. I'm going to go with Shanghai here. I'm going to say 3-1. Like I said, they've impressed me the last couple of weeks. I've been kind of cold to them all season. I wasn't really feeling them, but I've liked what I've seen from them their last couple of matches. I think they're starting to develop a little bit. And like I said, when they put Rhea back in, it's just no. This isn't a slight against Sasin as much as I just really really like Rhea. I think he's one of the most underrated off tanks in the league. You can just see subtle changes. They just play better with him in there. He's just that like main cog that just lets them spin. So like I said, I still like Shanghai more here. Even with a loss to Seoul, Seoul obviously has a ton of talent. So I'm not going to hold it against them too much, especially since I didn't see the game and it was close. So I think Shanghai bounces back here, but I think we have a very entertaining match on our hands. In the end, Dragons take it 3-1. Then London Spitfire taking on Guangzhou Charge. So both of these teams coming off of really nice victories. I'm going to go with the Charge here. Again, more experience. I like their talent level a bit more than London. I think the DPS is really going to be where the difference is. Nero, Eileen, and Happy, when they're in rhythm, they're so good. So I think that is the mitigating factor here. Although, Guangzhou, if they do come out sluggish and have some weird attacks where they just don't use ults and look bad, then London, could very well turn this on its head. But I still do think Guangzhou's a better team. They finally gotten back to 500. I think this is the week where they finally go 2-0, and they take that victory 3-1. Then we have a much improved Dallas team taking on the Philly Fusion. All right, I picked Philly last time out. They won easily. I said I need to stop picking against Philly. I need to, start giving them more credit. I am going to believe in Dallas. I'm going to go for the upset. Burn blue and all of that. I don't know exactly why. I just like how Dallas is playing lately. I think Philly has had a lot of close matches going to map 5s. Dallas had that experience going to a map 5 and losing out to San Francisco. I think that they just find a way in this one. Like I said, this is a team that they have so much ability, they have so much potential. I think it's really starting to shine through a bit, and this is the test for them. This is a huge test, because they did just barely beat Houston, but is a battle for Texas, and they came back and they really clutched out on map 5. So yeah, I'm gonna go for an upset here. The upsets above, they gave me some confidence. And I think that Dallas pulls it off in a very, very close 5-map series. Toronto, San Francisco. No upset here. Going with San Francisco. Do not have enough confidence to pick Toronto. I think map 1 is very close. Toronto might take it. They might not. After that, it's not close. Sure, why not? I'm feeling generous. I'll give Toronto the first map. San Francisco's been a bit shaky on some of the controls. Toronto's been very good on them lately. So I think that they edge it out. And then after that, it's kind of all San Francisco. Like I said, they're starting to look like that dominant team again. And while I have liked a lot of the things I've seen from Toronto, they are definitely not on that level. So unfortunately for the Defiant, I think I see them going down to 4-8 or 4-7 on this season. But yeah, Shock at 6-2. I think they're just gonna keep rolling until they face a team like your Philly or potentially Gladiators. They lost to them before. Maybe a team like Paris or Atlanta could take them out as well. But for now, going with the Shock for sure. Then we got Florida Mayhem, the 7th place, by the way. They're in 7th place, the Florida Mayhem, sitting at 5-4. I'm gonna go with Florida over Vancouver here. Like I said, new roster for the Titans. They haven't played at the OWL level. I'm sure they haven't really been able to scrim, maybe a little bit at most. So Florida, they seem more comfortable. They're super confident right now. I feel like their tank line in particular has been playing really, really well. Still, BQB still hasn't ever really impressed me too much. Yaki has been super solid though this season, so I like him. Their support line as well has been playing very well, And for Vancouver, like I said, I feel like they could definitely get the jump on Washington, but against teams that aren't Washington and Boston, I wouldn't trust them to beat them yet. I got to see more from them so far. Got to give Florida their credit for playing really well these last couple of weeks, and I think that in an entertaining match, obviously both of these teams aren't going to be super familiar with each other, so we could see some crazy things on both sides. But in the end, I think it's Florida taking it 3-1. So those are the predictions for this week. We already have some crazy stuff going down, as I said before. And I think we got a very solid week coming to us. I think we got some lower mid teams that have an opportunity, to go against the big boys. We got some very close matchups with Paris, and Gladiators. And essentially we get to watch a whole new team in the Titans. So that's, even though it's super sad to see what happened to Vancouver, it's a tragedy. Hopefully all the players find new teams soon because they obviously deserve to be on teams and starting. But we gotta get what we can out of it. Get what enjoyment you can, and I think that this Vancouver team should be interesting. They perform really well the last couple of seasons that they're in contenders. So, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, I hope you have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.